Welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Welcome to the Breath of the Wild All Dungeons Tournament Grand Finals. Game 3. This one is for all the marbles. It is Tapir versus Smich. These two are one each in their series of a best of three. And, well, I'm Tobias. And your commentators today are MB and in a moment Lumina, but in the meantime, I'm going to fill in. So let's get on the race view and let's get these runners going. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you,
MB, how are you?
Tobias. Yeah, very well. Glad to be here. Yeah, Lumina will join us later. He will be our speedrunning expert. I'm coming to you with the casual and all the bingo knowledge that you could imagine, as useful as that is in this scenario. But first off, I just want to get us like I said, just time zone. Like get back to Saturday, right? There was this race in which Tapir and Smich were like I think 6 seconds apart for the first one, right? I mean, literally BLSing across the map side by side. Like if they were in the same multiverse, right? We would have seen them literally right next to each other. It would have yes, come on Nintendo, give us this multiverse. Anyway, um and then game 2, 31 seconds apart, right? So here we are. We had, one race to Smich, one race to Tapir, and this is match 3. And just like that, just in 10 seconds, game 3 will be here. So I just want to give us that, hype. Get us there.
What an intro. So these are the best runners of this tournament and arguably the best runners that are currently in this community. Or that yeah, in a run that is 1 hour and 30 minutes on average, a finish with just tens of seconds apart, that is pretty amazing, especially under race conditions. Like, yes, okay, with a recorded or a time attack speedrun, right, with an RTA speedrun, you end up with all kinds of resets and all that stuff that doesn't happen in a race. So the fact that these two were that close in their first two runs versus one another, that's pretty hype. All right,
Yeah,
open your
especially
eyes,
with
Link.
the route they're running. I mean, there are so many opportunities for things to go tragically wrong and for you to get put back, a minute behind where you were. So yeah, it's just it's just amazing. First thing you might notice is that our game is in Italian. So you might be thinking, wait, French, right? I mean, if you've been around, any percent the fastest language is French, but not actually for all dungeons. Just every category has a certain amount of cutscenes, and it just so happens that in this category, Zelda's rocks, I suppose, are the fastest in Italian.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I knew German was also the fastest for some categories, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's definitely
it
faster
used to
than
be.
like English for any percent. I remember, yeah, some people used to put their any percent in German just kind of as like a preference thing, and then after time it was like, well, we're getting so literally so what's the word? Like just optimized that you don't want to lose exactly just that couple frames, right? So
Yeah,
not a choice that we will see so often anymore.
yeah, sure. So Tapir here with a super quick escape from the Shrine of Resurrection. Smich just a few seconds behind him. We'll see how that translates to later on in the run, but obviously getting those time wins in early is also psychologically important. These two runners know what their opponent is doing, or at least are allowed to know. So
Yeah,
um,
yesterday we actually did see Tapir actually admit that watching the stream might have distracted him at a couple of opportunities. Oh, and Smith just getting a distraction by the Boko there. That Link just wanted so badly to look over his shoulder at that stupid Boko.
great.
So yeah, it'd be interesting. We'll have to see in the post commentary or the post interview just to see what they chose today as far as checking them with the stream or not. It definitely can get in your head. The first thing we're seeing, well, second trick we're seeing, I mean, you know, Shrine of Resurrection clip, but it's definitely a trick. Is a skew here just to get inside the Temple of Time the fastest way possible. We just need a couple of materials, just, you know, just a bow and some arrows so that we can do this trick, which is BLSS. This is a casual friendly trick, so I just always like to, as a casual player, remind anyone who's watching, this is definitely possible for you to do. Now, it's followed up in this first use of it by a, I don't know, it's not frame perfect, but it is not necessarily as easy. You need your fall damage cancel.
And you are basically
And
clipping your way
we're,
into those shrines because they are obviously not activated before the tower is pushed from the ground normally.
oh, have a good flight, TT. All right, so
Should
these,
BLSS instead. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. Yeah, as we're gonna see in this game, and not in real life, but you know, uh, you keep the height that you have for BLSS, and so I don't know if it would work for modern air travel.
Need a lot of control.
Wow.
Ooh, flawless.
Yeah, I
Flawless bomb
know.
jump here by Tapir.
I call that the
Smich
gamer wind
slightly off
bomb.
angle.
Smich setting up another BLSS that might look silly, but it's again, it's just so fast. Oh, silly game. And I definitely feel like this is a commentary because I'm just gonna look away, not looking.
Yep.
It's gonna be fine.
We're just gonna focus on Tapir. There we go. Got it. Amazing. That's Tapir done with shrine number 1. Now has remote bombs.
Which will help him. But yeah, you know, this game just likes to slow us down. We've got the old man to talk to. Can't avoid it. We just of all the categories to run, although as the bingo friend, I would say you don't have to do a plateau if you play bingo. Bingo's files actually start at the end of plateau, so highly suggest that. But for any other category, we are stuck with the plateau. So old man gets to give us his deals and such. So Tapir's going to make his way to the next rune shrine, the Magnesis Shrine. He's going to do that with the same BLSS trick. In some versions of all dungeons, you would see the runner stop right there and get the tower on the plateau, because that would mean that for the rest of the plateau and beyond, you don't need to worry about clipping into shrines. But like I was kind of mentioning earlier, things have become so optimized now that there is actually a route that these very runners are doing, that they don't need the tower.
So basically, they avoid all shrines past the Great Plateau. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, no need for them. Yep, you're gonna see a couple of funny things because it. So that tower cutscene that you usually get on the plateau, I mean, it literally causes the towers themselves to erupt out of the ground. So that has not happened in their games now. That will actually never happen in these games. So you just will see Hyrule without any towers. Now we
Who needs
have
towers
our
anyway?
exactly. Now we have our Magnesis rune, which gets used a little bit here and there. Just a little less often than some other runes, but definitely does get used. He's got to make sure that he is the correct state of things for that wind bomb there. If you still have skew, then you would actually you'd be in ragdoll state, or if you still had ragdoll, at least you would still not be able to perform that wind bomb there. Canal wind bomb is what some people call that, to get through the shrine. And again, extremely optimized, saves about, I want to say it's 7 seconds. So some runners don't even go for it, but in a race like this, it is a nice little time saves. Nice little get to make sure you're ahead.
I mean, the
Thank you,
question is, what
Roman.
do you risk by doing these this wind bomb? Sorry, what do you risk by doing these wind bombs that way? How much time do you lose if you don't get them exactly right? We can see that both Tapir and Smich got them perfectly in this race.
Yes, but you can also see Smich got down to a quarter of a heart there, so that is very close to dying, which would have lost him a significant amount of time. So yes, that is why some people choose not to go for it.
Hey,
Quarter of
all
a
health
heart.
points are fungible except the last one.
So we see Tapir picking up some resources here, getting a couple apples and some wood. Just a handy place to get a couple things.
So how does one BLSS, if one were so inclined? You said it's a newbie-friendly trick, so I would like to try it.
Yeah, sure. Please. I would love for you to try it literally in the next 24 hours and then DM me and say how fun it is. Literally a blast. So basically what you're doing is that you have your shield out, you have a bomb or any object right in front of you. Bombs are just really easy to use. I'd recommend starting with the square bomb just because it doesn't roll around. So you don't have
Hmm.
to chase after a round thing. Um, However, you can do it with either one, and the round one is actually going to be easier once you're in the air. So you have your shield out, the bomb's right in front of you. You actually tap on your bow button and then try to pick up the bomb. So what's going to happen is that Link's going to actually have his bow and the bomb in his hands at one time. And so then, once now you have your bomb in your hands with the bow open, you are going to interrupt putting the bomb or the bow away by pausing the game and unequipping your shield. And that basically just messes things up in just the right way where the game basically thinks that Link is standing when he's not. Um, I think I'm missing a step right at the end there. I forget exactly how to explain it. But basically, the premise is that you have a little step up. That's what I'm missing. There you go. You have a little step up animation, and then that's just gonna you'll notice. Keep an eye out from now on. Every time they BLSS, one of Link's feet will be slightly higher than the other, and so that's that little state that is in, and that will kind of result in the ability to BLSS. You have to hold B once you're in BLSS, and you have to be very careful not to let your, what's the word, analog stick go into a neutral zone. And other than that, and not pressing the menu button. If you open the menu, say that you get into like the cold region and you want to eat, you'll actually drop the BLSS once you get out of your menu. So that is one kind of thing you have to manage. But yeah, they know how to manage these things just fine.
I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna DM you within a day or two and see if that works out for me. But basically, then you're just walking on air, is what I'm gathering.
Yes, I really liked Cleric's YouTube video. There's so many great tutorials out there. You can literally find um, many people in the community have one, but Cleric specifically is the one that I used on YouTube, and I just like the way he shows like a little controller and kind of shows exactly when to press the buttons.
Wonderful. All right, I'll look that up. In the meantime,
Yeah.
though, back to the run. We see both of our runners still on the Great Plateau. Tapir has his. Both have their stasis rune by now, which leaves just one shrine to do. Up in the cold region, as you said, to escape this plateau finally.
Yep, the deal is you gotta have all 4 of the runes to get the paraglider from the old man.
Yep.
So we are seeing quite a sizable lead. There's just been a lot of little things that have added up. For Smich, you know, a lot of little things that just haven't gone right. And that's just caused a lead for Tapir. But as I was saying earlier, this route is extremely punishing, and so there will be equalizers later on. There will be things that will likely bring them back together.
As you said, it's the small things, and I mean, we saw, especially in the first 2 shrines, that Tapir just had a blistering pace. Like had I don't know if it was luck or if it was just it. With runners of this caliber, I'm always assume it's going to be an excess amount of skill, getting those wind bombs exactly right and flying basically right to the end of the shrines, where Smich was just slightly off angle and needed to correct course later on. And yeah, as you said, this is a 1 hour 30-minute run. There will be plenty of time for both of them to gain these few seconds back.
Yeah, sub 2 used to kind of be like an impressive all dungeons time, right? Like that was impressive if you had anything sub 2 hours. And now now we're here in the 130s. It's unimaginable.
I mean, it's amazing to me. I watched a bunch of the any percent runs back in the very beginning when the route was first worked out and when they were I think in the 50 and 40-minute range, and how far both any percent and all dungeons have come in the meantime is impressive, to say the least. All
And
right.
just like that, Tapir has gotten his paraglide herbal momentarily, and will be off of the plateau. As our categories all dungeons, we need to go, of course, to where the dungeons are. The dungeons are the divine beasts, and so Tapir will be making his way to the Rito to take care of divine beast Va Mado. But not exactly. He's going to make a pit stop on the way. I should mention, not going directly there. Easy to get to, and castle is loaded.
Castle is where all the good weapons are. I mean, if you've watched any percent before, you know that you can get all the equipment to beat all 4 of the Divine Beast end bosses, as well as Ganon himself within the confines of Hyrule Castle. So
first green deck, and we need and some arrows. Way too convenient. Arrows, very nice. Smich is going to be close behind as he's finishing up his plateau. One thing I should mention in this BLSS is you saw you saw it from Tapir and you're about to see it from Smich is you might notice that they don't actually go quite as fast as they could. So BLSS does allow you to move pretty quickly. You wiggle your stick. But the game will actually have speed cap if you go a little too fast. And so that's something that you're going to see Smich kind of do here, is that you see he's going to wiggle, and then he kind of pauses his wiggling for just a little bit, just to make sure he's not getting that speed cap.
Small difference in routes you'll spot here. I'm here, by the way. Hi. Small difference in routes you'll see. Tapir actually has to go. He's doing a different route to Smich, where you get shock arrows here and you duplicate them. This means he will not be getting the Gerudo Cloves. It's a slight variation on routes. Also, hi, I'm here. Finally.
Welcome in, Lumina. And with that, I think I take my leave and leave you, chat, to the experts.
Thank you, guys, for filling in.
Yeah.
Bye.
Also, welcome, Lumina.
Thank you. Can you get me vaguely up to speed? It looks like Tapir just had a very clean plateau, to be honest. Smitch's was a low Way 15, but Tapir's just a minute or so ahead, which is pretty massive this early in the run.
What happened. He just had very clean everything. Canal, tree, wind bomb, up to state. I mean, everything was just clean. So very enjoyable.
Man's been practicing. Man's probably not been practicing, but you never know with these runners.
You never know. No, that is true.
Yeah, so Smich won't be doing the wind bombs to the shock arrows there. He'll be going straight up. He has to do a wind bomb, then a midder up to a column. Then he'll be sliding over to the same spot Tapir is now, the fairy fountain, where you get the remaining materials you need for IST. So this will close the gap a tiny bit, but then Tapir's should technically be quicker for the Gerudo segment in the run. That's not actually great for Smich. He has to run up the column a little bit, which will probably cost him another 10-15 seconds.
Angle there. Oh, come on, Link. Come on, Long.
Yeah, it's really not fun to try and walk up this. It's actually more like 20-30 seconds, which is a bit rough.
Yeah.
But you can make it up, it's just a bit tedious. And then he'll be setting up his slide here.
That surface, right? He can only walk up it.
Yeah, exactly. You can whistle sprint, but it's a bit awkward.
Yep.
With that, we see Tapir pulling slightly further ahead, but it's a long run.
Yeah, so the second pit stop is this fairy fountain, because fairies are very useful. And
Fairies basically mean we don't have to worry about health for like the next hour and a half. Which, yeah, it completely reshaped the way this run was done. Now what you have to worry about is equipment routing, because health routing is just not a thing anymore. Previously, you'd have to be very careful. If you did too many backup wind bombs, then you start having issues with needing to find some backup food, or things like that. But Infinite Fairies just means you don't have to worry about, like, fire and Elden, you just skip the Flame Breaker armor and things like that. It's insane how much has changed for run, and it's kind of just normal in this run now. We'll probably see Smich grab a third fairy here, just so he has a little bit of extra health on the way to Rito Village. That's what he did yesterday. And yeah, indeed, he grabs a third. He also grabs what are they called? Mighty Thistles, yes, which are used for the IST setup as like sort of fodder materials you need to complete the trick. I cannot explain this trick as elegantly as Orc Crystal was yesterday, but basically, yeah, you're doing some witchcraft and you're basically transferring the durability of the Royal Claymore onto the item stacks. In Smitch's case, that's the Ancient Arrows and the Fairies. And in Tapir's, he also tries to duplicate the Shock Arrows, which is what you need to complete the Router quest later. Smich actually duplicates a couple of rubies as well, which is a slight variation, but yeah.
So yeah, basically what's happening is just slow it down a little bit. Smich is going to have the clothing of Gerudo, which means that he can buy the shock arrow in Gerudo, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Whether Tapir, he will not have the Gerudo clothing, and his interaction in the town will have to be very short, as he's actually going to basically do a little trick to basically distract the game from the fact he does. So he'll basically dip in and dip out before the guards, or they actually do kick him.
They do kick him out after the cutscene's ended, but you just need to get into the two triggers. The first time you enter, you need to talk to Riju and get that entry cutscene before you can go off to the Yiga hideout, and the second time, it's to move Riju towards the Naboris entry quest. I think Tapir had an issue with his first setup, because I don't think you ideally want to drop your... Am I wrong? I might be wrong. I think he is having issues with it. I don't think you want to, be dropping your materials. I think he's missing... It's like a frame-perfect input on when you open this shop. I don't know what the visual cue is and if it's worked. But it looks like it's worked this time, because he's now selling the materials. And you do this twice, then you do a bunch of weird stuff with your inventory, and then you have about 4,000 fairies, so...
You know, little trick.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's that
game's pretty broken
moment of having to reload your game and just hoping that everything worked out correctly.
That's not such a thing anymore because of there is like a way you can check when you're in the shop, I believe.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna
Sure, 0.7 so actually you're holding when you're selling. Okay, yeah, what Norman said.
so far.
So it's no longer a Monker-esque when you reload. You will know before that if it's worked, and you can just back it up by doing the trick again instead of selling.
I like being wrong sometimes. Happy to be wrong.
That's how it used to be, but we understand the trick a bit more than we used to now.
Yeah. Yes, just thank you to the many community members who put in this hours.
Exactly. This was
figuring
massive
this
community
out.
effort.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but if you have any interest in any of the tricks, just come on over to the Breath of the Wild Speedrun Discord. Casuals and newbies are all, despite what we might have seen earlier in chat,
Did I miss something?
Are all welcome. Just a little smack talk between some community members. That's it.
Classic. I'll watch it back. Norman appears to have noticed something with Tapir's setup, so we'll see if his has worked correctly. He seems to be confident with it. Smich has actually closed the gap a lot with a much cleaner IST, from what I can tell.
Yeah, it seems like they're hand in hand right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I saw.
Looks okay.
6,000 shock arrows.
6,000 shock arrows, that is a lot.
That's what I noticed in that moment there.
200 fairies as well. Smich has 400. He also duplicates some rubies. He sells all 9 of them, and that's all the rupees he needs for the run, basically. 600 for Gerudo clothes, 420 for shock arrows. He didn't dupe ancient arrows, he duped normal and shock. Ooh, that is gonna massively... Oh, okay.
Oh, Noman,
That
good
massively
observation.
lowers his damage output. He might need another backup bow just to sort of fill in the gap. The run will still be finishable because you still have a ridiculous amount of numbers. The issue is your bows are doing less damage, so you're getting basically less effective damage per bow. So this is actually pretty rough for Tapir now, but recompleting that trick, he's already done 2 hard saves, and I don't know what his autosaves are like, so... It will be down to does he have a good autosave, and it takes another 3 or 4 minutes to recomplete it. So I believe just finding a potential backup bow is the only way he can really go about this.
Yeah.
You don't think he noticed?
Oh.
That could be rough for him then. The alternative is he enters the Gerudo hideout and grabs the bananas, and he can make attack food, and that will kind of offset the lower damage, but we will see. Smich is something similar.
In his correct setup, wouldn't he not have a load of normal arrows?
I believe you're only meant to duplicate to about 30 shock arrows and then duplicate a lot of ancient arrows, but instead he's duplicated the shock arrows instead of the ancient arrows. I don't know how many ancient arrows he has. Did you see that?
I did not.
Okay, we will see. He'll notice it now anyway, because he's used 4 ancient arrows here. Okay. We'll see shortly how many ancient arrows he has then. Oh boy, our runners are back neck on neck as well, so this has been a pretty insane time save for Smich.
Yes.
Even disregarding if if Tapir's setup has gone wrong. He's actually using bomb arrows, which I believe you're supposed to use ancient arrows optimally, so I think he is aware. Because you only need 1 ancient arrow. So I think he's trying to save all his ancient arrows for the boss fights. Needs to do maths to work out how many ancient arrows you need, but I don't know how many he has is the unfortunate thing here. Yeah, he has to be aware if he's doing this. He does miss 2 arrow shots, which is a little unfortunate. Bomb arrow routing is not as strict as it used to be, but you still don't want to be missing too many shots, mostly because of bow durability in his case, because you do use this Falcon bow for the Unibo escort section of the run now as well.
I feel like the proper analogy is that he's now running untouched, right? It's like something that like is gonna bother you when you're running, but like technically
Exactly. It's
So,
like a
like,
bunch of decisions
you're
he's going
like
to have to make
kind
through
of
the run.
wondering when it's really gonna mess you up, right?
Yeah. I think most runners have had a run where they've been in some situation, especially in tournaments. They can be like, you missed something, and you back it up. I
And
think the most common example is Castle. If you're doing any percent and you're fighting the blights, occasionally you'll use like the wrong weapon, and you're trying to figure out how can I get the damage in and get my weapon routing back to where it's supposed to be. Because if one of your weapons breaks early in a fight, you might not get the correct routing, and that can completely mess up your whole Clam and Blights run.
And Zalem in chat mentioning another factor. Sometimes the games just load at different amounts of times. So
Yeah, I believe both our runners
that
are on
I do
digital,
agree.
but there is still just a bit of randomness to this as well.
Yep. Ancient cores. We don't need no ancient cores.
Nope,
Pass
not
up
anymore.
that chest.
They used to be used in the Ruby routing.
And again, Malice? Problem? Nope, not at all.
Malice
Walk
is
through
not,
it.
because you have a lot of effective hearts. Smich got ahead though because of Tapir missing 2 of the shots. That looks like the right frame. Tapir not getting through though, so the jump angle must have been slightly off. He opts to blow up the style heads. He does actually reset his skew as well. There is a backup skew spot here. That skew looks slightly stronger, which can make it a bit harder to ESC. And he's having issues with the frame as well. I think that's it. He either has to keep going for this or just cut his losses and fly out the window.
Yeah.
Because his shield hit the floor, he's going to reset skew if he does opt to. He is going to keep going for the ESC.
Yeah.
Smich
Smich is headed
going for his
over
mid-air.
his other side of the Divine Beast. Gotta get his last terminal over there.
They're opting to try again. At this point, it's tricky though, because if you do get it in the next try or two, then you're saving time for going out the window. But if it keeps going wrong, so yeah, he was correct to keep going there. But if he had just gone out straight away, it's one of those tricky things in decision making when you do these runs. We see a new trick that Smich doing. Well, it's a slight difference in the routing for the 5th terminal, where you only need to hit the hammer once and you can stasis it earlier, which puts you on a much quicker cycle. It pushes it slower, but then the door closes on top of it and it pushes it really quickly into the button.
Wow.
It's
I've
just it saves you
never
like
done
5 seconds. It's a really cool routing.
Yeah.
So the way you bomb arrow the windmill at the end means the thing only opens for like a second and then closes again onto the hammer.
Beautiful.
They're landing for a second to refill his stamina, and he'll be able to glide in. We'll see a slightly different Wind Blight strat as well for our 2. Actually, no, I'm lying. Ignore me. I thought Smich was somewhere else. But yeah, instead of going over to the draft and then flying back to get the 1 cycle on Wind Blight, what runners do now is they just jump on the pedestal. Because the condition of Wind Blight zoning out at the start of phase 2 is whether you are near the center. So we used to like glide back in as we did the last shots, but we now just stand in the center because that works better. And you see that again for Tapir, the door closing on the hammer, which pushes it quickly.
Alright, so now we have a significant difference in Smich's favor.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very hard run for Tapir to catch up, but again, races, anything can happen. It's just a lot of decision making, and I do think he will need an extra bow, even if he does opt to get the attack feed.
Yeah.
The thing is, you really don't want to be making it like a 1.5-minute detour into Yiga hideout as well, because these runs are towerless, so he cannot just warm back to Gerudo Town. If he does enter Yiga hideout, he has to leave it again. I'm curious what the backup will be in the end.
And is this the only beast that we actually closed the quest for? Because we want the eagle bow.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So we want the champion's weapon, the Great Eagle Bow, so much that we're actually going to go ahead and close the quest so we can get that.
I believe Tapir's stream's gone down. Just need to check for chat to see if anything's gone on there.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Smich has also stopped. I'm just going to double check what's going on there.
Yeah,
It looks like a
yeah,
forfeit, yeah, but I don't want
it
to say it
does.
too soon.
Yeah, that run spiraled. It just spiraled for him.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we're only going to continue to do that. And so
The whole
wow.
run would have been a bunch of attempted recoveries, which is very unfortunate, but
I mean, these runners, it really it could have gone exactly down to the last minute again. We know they're both extremely skilled, and they brought their best foot forward, and the IST setup just gave Tapir an extreme handicap, and I definitely do not blame him. Hopefully they don't mind coming in for some post race interviews, and we can just yeah so soon.
yeah, that's the thing with this route. If something goes wrong in the IST, you're either losing 4 minutes reloading it and redoing it, or something can go, like, it's just constant backups. Have you got access to the
That's true. Tapir is literally
Tapir has said in the race room that Smich doesn't have to finish it out. But yeah.
That is totally fair. I'll thank Tapir for putting this together. I mean,
Smich has offered for a rematch, but Tapir looks to be opting out to that.
that is very amazing of Switch to offer. I like the touch of Smich. Oh, whoa. He's going. Just exhibition, maybe? Yeah, maybe a celebration dance, maybe an actual just exhibition. Giving us just a little more content. Some high quality speedrunning.
Yeah. I don't think this is his normal line, so I think he is just
Yeah.
gliding out. Yeah, it's an unfortunate way for the tournament to end, but that does make Smich our All Dungeons champion. The greatest on the planet. My bingo teammate, by the way. Let me quickly make sure everything is settled.
Yeah, I mean, GG's nonetheless. I mean, just go back and watch yesterday's runs, guys. I mean, it might be climatic today, but it was extremely climatic yesterday, right? What we get. We had such good runs yesterday. Yeah, I believe it was 6 seconds, right? For the first race and 31 seconds for the second race.
Yeah, exactly. The second race was crazy as well, because Smich also had an issue with his IST, where he reloaded at one point and ended up being a really close race. Okay.
Hey.
Welcome in, Smich and Tapir.
Welcome, welcome.
Oh,
GG's.
yeah, GG's.
Very
Yeah.
unfortunate way for it to end, especially after
Yeah.
yesterday's races. But
Yeah,
that run looked pretty unrecoverable, to be honest. I think you would have needed at least another bow for the routing to work.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking too. It's just
Yeah,
too
your
far
damage was
gone.
severely down. Yeah.
Yeah, like I had a bank on Smich making multiple major mistakes, which, based off of like how we've been playing,
what we've
not
seen.
going to happen. So
Yeah,
it's
were
whatever.
you watching? Were you guys watching the race?
No.
I kind of tuned in after I messed up IST just to see what was going on, and then when Blight was just unkillable for me, I was like, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Kept going off of that. That's respectable.
Yeah, because I had the fairies, so I'm like, okay, let's just see how the damage goes, and then
Yeah.
there's just not enough.
Oh,
So I was like, eh.
yeah.
And I forgot how to do the.
And I
old
was
one,
thinking,
but
like, you could maybe get the bananas in Yiga Hideout to compensate damage, but then you're losing another 2 minutes, and it's
exactly. It was just
and you couldn't enter
compiling.
Gerudo Town. It was just not pretty as like a potential backup.
Yeah. So that's whatever. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to end
Yeah.
that way, but you
Yeah.
both made it to the finals. Smich, you won the tournament, so
Yo.
GG's to both of you.
Well, we had some good races yesterday. They were bangers.
You did. Yesterday had some
True.
brilliant races.
They were a treat. They really were,
I like
especially
pardon, sorry.
Orcus and Lumina. You guys did a fantastic job commentating.
First one was interesting for me because I was slightly out of date with the route, so I was just seeing things like, ooh, that's cool. That makes sense. I see why people do that. And the second race, I was like, yeah, it all makes sense now.
So what's next for you guys? What's any plans with your epic status of all dungeons winner?
You're gonna go for world
Breath of the
record
Wild
now,
for
right,
now.
Smich?
Nope. Just wait for Tears of the Kingdom. That'll probably be my last run that I do until then, so.
University do be existing.
That is true. Yeah, I'm going
There
to
you go.
Disney. Yeah.
Engineer Tapir?
Hmm?
What are we
I don't
gonna
know.
see from you? Yeah, just no pressure.
Maybe like a hero challenge here and there, but I'm not really. Maybe an any percent run, but yeah, I'm not.
Not feeling
Too,
the All Dungeons extended. That's unfortunate.
If it is the old All Dungeons extended.
I miss the old All Dungeons extended, dude.
All
that run
the
was so much fun.
SCWs and stuff. It just
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 is fine, you know, but there's too much now.
It's got a bit silly.
Yeah. I liked the old one. It was like a fun. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It was like the DLC was unique to Speedrun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Smich, don't forget to press done.
Mm,
Don't leave us eternally stuck in this race.
did it.
Wow, that's a
World
world record.
record.
42. We both made the same terrible joke. I love that.
Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
GG's
Make
on
sure
the-
as the person you should follow, I'm going to go ahead and say to follow everyone else. Follow Lumina, follow Senior Tapir, follow Smich. No pressure on them, but I know I'm the one who does not stream at all. So don't bother doing that. If you really wanted to follow and hear my voice again, then you can follow Bingo-thon, because that's where you probably will next hear my voice on this place called Twitch.
And thank you for comms, MB. Shame we couldn't do a full race, but it happens. And yeah, thanks for the restream as well. Baseball and Tobias and ZSR and Tapir for having this tournament as a whole.
All right. I will start wrapping this thing up. So yeah, thank you everyone for commentating today, MB, Lumina, and Tobias. And thank you to our runners, Smich and Tapir. Thank you to Tobias also for setting up the restream for me. So yeah, that's the end of the tournament. Congratulations to Smich for winning the tournament. Thank you to everyone who organized and put on the tournament. Yeah, there's a cool relay race for Breath of the Wild All Shrines happening next Saturday on ZSR, so that will be very fun, and you all should check that out. Yep. In the meantime, I'm gonna rate us over to Zelda Speedruns 2. Zelda Speedruns 2. They are in the middle of a Zelda 2 randomizer race. So hope you enjoy that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.